Story 1. I, 17F, was recently staying at my dad's after school broke up. He lives in the countryside and has a farm which I grew up on. My parents divorced when I was 10 and we moved away. As a child, 6 years oldish, I was out with my dad as he worked. I was running around and I tripped on something, causing me to fall down and land chin first against a jagged concrete wall. Immediately, blood poured from my mouth and I lost 3 baby teeth. The pain was immense. I can still picture it clearly to this day. Although somehow, my chin was not split open. I remember feeling like my chin bones were pulled apart and misaligned, around my jaw as well. I was obviously screaming and crying, and my dad hears me and comes towards me, tells me to shut up, and he stands behind me. He takes each hand on either side of my jaw, yanking my jawbones, causing more and more pain, until he looked and thought my face looked normal again. He told me not to tell my mum, who was abroad with an ill family member for around a month at this time. It is a miracle to me that my adult teeth grew in straight, and I don't have an underbite or an overbite, but cosmetically the lack of medical attention had dire consequences. My chin is disfigured. If I had been to hospital, then maybe they would have x-rayed me and made sure I wouldn't grow up to be unsatisfied with my appearance. Half of my chin is lopsided and jagged and half is round, and I get constant jaw pain. My jaw has bruxism and I am considering masseter Botox and even cosmetic surgery to correct it, as it has become such a problem for me as I grew older, causing teasing, insecurity, and low confidence. I more recently told my mum of my concerns and she was horrified to learn of what really happened, as she never knew the story, and yet more angry with my dad. She called him and I had to de-escalate the situation. She was yelling all the same old about how he is a bad father and even threw in words like abuse and neglect. She demanded to him to pay for plastic surgery for me, something I'm not even sure of yet, and a whole load more of angry words. I was angry at her reaction, as him and her have been divorced for many years, and I feel like this is something between me and my dad since I'm older now and would rather not have them fight like they used to. Life has moved on. Anyways, when I stayed down at his lately, he brought it up and was under the impression I wanted to get plastic surgery ASAP. He told me I was being vain, only bimbos get plastic surgery, and especially that he would not pay for it since it was in the past and he never did anything to me. I protested and said I never wanted him to pay for anything. I have a job and have savings which, if I decided to, I could afford something to be done in the future. He asked me if I was angry at him. I said no. As I've grown up, I've learned to let sleeping dogs lie and to move on with my life. He made many a mistake through my childhood, but he is still my dad and does his best at the end of the day. But secretly, I do have some sort of resentment underneath. On the last weekend of my week at my dad's, around a month ago, my dad's fiancée, who is a wonderful and caring woman by all regards, pulled me aside and was asking me things about my childhood. She knows that things were a little rough sometimes, and that my dad was not an attentive father, but probably nothing in depth. She told me that after my mum called my dad and the yelling argument happened, my dad told her what happened when I was a child and she was astounded. Her words. She told me that was disgusting and neglectful of him, and since then she hasn't been able to look at him the same since, and she had been thinking of how he is as a person more deeply and wanted to know more information about him before he met her. I was taken aback, but since she is lovely, warm, and friendly, I sort of vented lots of things and told her things that I even struggle talking about. She was really kind and told me the whole usual "you didn't deserve that," which I know, and I don't actively get bothered by my childhood experiences anymore, as I've grown up and moved on and like to focus on the right now. The next morning I take the train back up country to my mum's house. Anyway, last night, I was completing coursework for my A-levels, as I'm going into year 13 in September and am aiming for a top university. I get a call from my dad, and he is livid. I have never heard such a combination of anger and absolute despondence. He yelled at me that I had ruined his life and me and my mum were scheming beaches who ruined his life year after year, that I couldn't be happy for him and his life was ruined now. I asked him what on earth was he talking about, and he told me his fiancée had changed her mind and she wasn't going to marry him anymore, and she cancelled the wedding scheduled for next year. I started crying, genuinely, because she is a lovely woman and I was happy that he was with someone who fit him perfectly and she was seemingly happy with him too. They even talked of having another child, which I was also very happy for them for. As an only child, A baby sibling would be amazing. He yelled at me and argued at me, calling things like attention-seeking, vengeful, BTCH. He also told me he was glad my face was messed up and I should have just stopped crying over it, and looking this way is my punishment for being self-absorbed. All I could do was cry. I'm honestly in such a terrible state right now. The relationship with my dad has been rocky, but for the past 5 or so years it had been getting much better, I feel, and now I feel like everything has gone down the drain. Wasted. This year will be tough on me, A-levels, university applications, my work, and regardless, I just want a good relationship with him. I never meant to make his fiancée leave him, I honestly didn't. But I put my foot in it, clearly. I haven't got out of bed all day, I can't stop crying over how badly I messed up, and I don't even want to tell my mum about it. She would make it worse by calling him and yelling at him more. But yeah, that's my story, I guess. I'm unsure if I'm the a-hole for bringing up old skeletons from the closet, even unintentionally, or how I solve this situation. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I have been in therapy from ages 13 to 15, for sort of related, sort of unrelated issues that stemmed from just life, I guess. I was in a hospital for severe eating disorder but have since got better and I'm healthy now. Therapy helped as I unpacked a lot and helped me see the truth about my dad. But still I feel conflicted and terrible as I know he put in effort more recently to be a better father and person in general, I suppose. Story 2. I, 31F, went to a wedding over the weekend with my husband. I'm currently 34 weeks pregnant. At our table, we were seated next to a woman I didn't know. She seemed nice at first and immediately took an intense interest in my pregnancy, asking how far along I was, what symptoms I had, what I was craving, even what prenatal vitamins I was taking. I thought she was just curious and being chatty. Eventually, I asked if she had kids or was trying, since she seemed so engaged. She told me she and her partner had been trying for over 2 years without success. My heart went out to her. I told her I was really sorry to hear that, and that I couldn't imagine how difficult that must be. She said she'd tried everything under the sun: IVF, treatments, acupuncture, fertility rituals, and nothing had worked. I truly empathized with her. But then, things got uncomfortable. She started asking exactly how we conceived. Like, was it morning or night? What sex position did you use? Did you orgasm? What were you eating that day? Was it a full moon? I tried to laugh it off and give vague answers, then shifted my attention to my husband and the rest of the table. But she wouldn't let it go. She started following me around the reception when I'd get up to go to the bar, the photo booth, the dance floor. She'd be right there. At one point, she told me, "I've been trying to spend more time around pregnant women lately. I read that being near them, being in their energy can help fertility. I'm hoping some of it will rub off." I didn't know what to say. I gave her an awkward smile and excused myself, feeling really weirded out. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. I went to the bathroom at some point, and when I walked out she was standing outside the door. As soon as she saw me, she quickly turned on the sink like she'd just walked in, even though it was clear she had been standing there waiting. As I was drying my hands, she stepped beside me and said, "Can I touch your belly?" Before I could even respond, her hand was already reaching toward me. I instinctively stepped back and said, as gently and politely as I could, "I'm really sorry, but I don't feel comfortable with people touching my belly." I even smiled to soften it. She looked so upset. She didn't say a word, she just walked out of the bathroom without looking back. Back at the table, she avoided eye contact with me the rest of the night. When we said goodbye at the end of the evening to everyone at our table, she completely ignored me. On the ride home, I told my husband everything and he was shocked. He said her behavior was completely inappropriate and I should have shut it down or asked him to come with me to the bathroom, wait outside. I told him I didn't want to make things awkward and I had no idea she would follow me to the bathroom. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more creeped out I feel about what happened. But I am also feeling a little guilty. Like maybe I was too cold. Maybe she's just hurting and desperate, and I added to her pain. So, A for refusing to let her touch me.